Hi there, and welcome to the Fire Safety Training course. This course will explain in depth the importance of fire safety at home or at work, and how you can safely combat a deadly fire without injuries or loss of life. This first lesson will introduce you to the nature of fire, how fire spreads, the basics of fire safety, and why it's crucial for your safety and well-being. You'll also learn about the fire triangle and the different sorts of fires that can occur and run amok. So without further delay, let's begin.
Let's start by diving into the nature of fire. It's important to understand how it works and spreads.
Fire moves quickly. There's a limited amount of time. A little flame can quickly become out of control and evolve into a big conflagration in less than 30 seconds. It barely takes minutes for a compound to be filled with thick, black smoke.
The heat of a fire is enough to kill someone. In a fire, room temperatures can range from 100 degrees on the floor to 600 degrees at eye level. Your lungs will be scorched if you inhale this extremely hot air. Fire depletes your oxygen supply and produces deadly smoke and harmful chemicals. Even little amounts of smoke and poisonous chemicals can cause drowsiness, confusion, and shortness of breath.
Now let's look at the most common ways that a fire can spread.
Once started, a fire can spread in 3 ways: convection, conduction, and radiation. Let's discuss each of these methods in detail.
Convection. Convection is the most dangerous way for a fire to spread throughout a building. The heat generated by a fire rises naturally, but when it reaches the ceiling in a confined place like an office, it becomes trapped. The heat then spreads horizontally, allowing the fire to spread throughout the entire space.
Combustible components in the area can swiftly ignite, engulfing the entire space in a matter of minutes. Convection is the most typical way for a fire to spread in both residential and commercial structures.
Conduction. The spread of fire through direct contact between materials is referred to as conduction. Metal is a good example of a material that conducts heat better than others.
In a business building, a fire spreading through conduction could involve heat moving through structural components such as steel beams. When combustible elements come into contact with the beams, they can ignite and the fire can quickly spread. The spread of fire between rooms in larger buildings, as well as the failure of load-bearing structural supports, can all be attributed to conduction. Radiation. Heat is transferred through electromagnetic waves in the air by radiation. Heat travels in all directions until it finds an absorbent item. Radiation can spread fire from building to building, igniting flammable items nearby, and can even pass through windows, allowing access to the interiors of neighbouring offices.
Now that you have an idea about the ways that a fire spreads, it's time to talk about fire safety. So why is fire safety important? Well, fires cause devastating and indiscriminate damage to thousands of UK businesses every year, ranging from the destruction of properties to severe bodily injuries.
Other than that, there are losses for time, downtime losses, phone calls, forms, bureaucratic wrangling, insurance policies, etc. Customer goodwill. Downtime and delay of deliveries caused by fires hamper customers' trust, which leads to lower returns in the long run. Resources. Loss of valuable stock, equipment, records, data, and much more. In some cases, the losses might be irreversible.
Now let's talk about the fire triangle.
For a fire to start, it needs all 3 of the following things to be present in sufficient supply. These are fuel, a flammable chemical, be it solid, liquid, or gas. Oxygen, a gaseous chemical that makes up 20% of the standard atmosphere, with more emerging from oxidizing substances. Ignition, a high-level concentrated heat source. Hence, it's called a fire triangle.
Any flammable substance that could potentially keep a fire going is considered a fuel, such as paper and cardboard, plastics, wood, fabrics, aerosol products, etc.
Flammable substances and oxygen interact all the time, but with ignition they can become deadly. Ignition sources range from and can include naked flames, candles, gas cookers, lamps, lanterns. Embers, ash, fireplace remains, discarded cigarettes, electrical equipment, faulty electronics with loose connections. Overheating and sparking are very common ignition sources. Static electricity. Static electricity can be inconvenient or even dangerous. The same energy that causes your hair to stand on end can also cause gadgets to malfunction or explode. Friction in equipment. Loose bearings or insufficiently lubricated joints in machinery.
Oxygen is the least controllable of the three portions of the fire triangle, so for that reason, fuels and ignition should be closely monitored.
Coming up next are types of fire.
While all fires share certain obvious similarities, there are some important underlying differences that, if properly understood, means that it's possible to turn a potential inferno into just a spark in the bin. Class A fires are perhaps the most common because they involve the most basic combustible materials. They are solid materials and usually have some organic background. They consist of wood, paper, cotton, etc. Class B fires involve flammable liquids which have ignition temperatures below 100 degrees Celsius. These liquids include industrial cleaning chemicals, paint, varnishes, etc. Class C fires are caused following the ignition of flammable gases. These are possibly the single most dangerous kind of fire because of their potential to explode. Among the most common examples of these are propane, butane, hydrogen, etc.
In case of a Class C fire, the first thing to do is to locate the source of the fuel, eliminate or contain it, and then begin fighting the remaining fire.
Class D fires involve solid metal fuels or metal filings or powder, such as magnesium, lithium, sodium and the like. It's crucial for this fire class to use the correct approach, or else the fire might spread even faster. Electrical or Class E fires are caused by incorrectly functioning electronic equipment, such as plugs carrying high loads, short-circuiting equipment causing sparks, as well as broken or frayed wiring.
When dealing with electrical fires, the first step is always to isolate the power supply. Failing to do this could restart the fire.
And finally, Class F fires are caused when fuels such as cooking oils and fatty byproducts are burned at very high temperatures, usually in kitchens. Normal fire extinguishers are ineffective in dealing with this class since the fire is burning at very high temperatures, and that the fuel consists of oils.
Because these fires occur mainly in frying pans or deep-fat fryers, they are often fought better with fire blankets rather than fire extinguishers.
Okay, now that we know about the types of fire, let's discuss the safety measures. In England and Wales, fire safety must be dealt with by the responsible person. This person is defined as potentially being an employer, owner or manager of a location in question. This responsible person is ultimately the one who must ensure that all dwellers of that location are properly protected by risk reductions and evacuation procedures. As part of their responsibilities, the first responsible person must appoint a group of competent individuals to be the second group of responsible people, aka fire wardens.
A fire warden's responsibilities are based around fire prevention and fire procedures. Thus, their responsibilities include prevention risk. Fire wardens must identify potential risks present in the work environment, and then report to the first responsible person. Prevention, routes. Fire wardens must inform everyone of the proper exits and routes to use in the event of a fire, which should be clearly accessible and clearly labelled. Prevention, readiness. Fire wardens need to be fully trained on how to use fire extinguishers, how to activate emergency lighting, and be aware of any other fire/other emergency equipment in the building. Prevention, readjustment. Fire wardens need to stay up to date with any and all changes in the law and changes to the building.
That's all for the basics of fire safety. See you in the next lesson.